Oh, we're on. We've been on for 8 seconds. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, everyone. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, men and women. And you know what? I'm just going to leave it there because I think there are only men and women. Listen, we are talking about something that is a very prickly subject. Violence is coming. Violence is coming, and most people in the world, especially the United Kingdom, are not ready for what is about to hit us. Woke is over. Woke's over. Now I want to start this live stream before I go on. Before I get into my opening monologue, I want to give you guys my something that happened to me a couple of days ago. Like a couple of days ago, I can't remember what it was. I was out for a run. I'm running, and I saw these men walking towards me, and they were absolute soy boys, right? And if you wanna know what a soy boy is, and look, ladies, girls, women, young ladies, right? You're clearly free to choose whoever you want to choose and to be in a relationship with. But if you're choosing a soy boy, all right, I'll come on to that in a second. If you're choosing a soy boy, and if you're wondering what a soy boy is, as I was running towards these men, they were male. They looked male, all right? But I look male and they look male. And one of those two is correct. I was running towards them, right? They had these big, thick bobble hats on. Bear in mind, I was running like an absolute alpha, shouting at myself. It was absolutely freezing, and I was running really hard, panting, with a backpack on. You know, I'm running towards this little group of people, and they had these little dogs, like, I don't know what they were, like little handbag dogs. And there's these men and their little girlfriends, and they're walking towards me. I mean, motherfuckers said, I mean, clearly, you know, they did what the right thing was, because violence, everything's underwritten by violence, ladies and gentlemen. That's what we're going to be talking about. But let me continue. I was running, and as I was looking at these men and how they were dressed, I was just getting like, I'll give you what I saw. As I was running towards them, right? I was looking at their footwear. I always look at men's footwear. I always look at, you know, because like if you are a certain type of man, you wear a certain type of footwear. Like, honestly, like you will never catch me with footwear that I can't run 20 miles in. Honestly, it just doesn't happen. Now, this is an old military thing. Like most guys in the military, unless they're wearing flip-flops, you know, if they're out in the public and they're doing stuff, they're not going to be wearing footwear that you can't run in. It's kind of a big thing. Anyway, I'm looking at these soy boys, right? And they've got these skinny jeans. They're wearing these skinny jeans, and they've got these big walking boots. And I looked at the walking boots, and the laces are not done up. Now, that made me furious because it says two things. One, they may or may not know how to tie shoelaces. Two, they've never actually had to run in those boots. They've never actually had to use those boots for what they were made for. Three, they you know, I'm going to leave it with two. We'll leave it with two. They're wearing these skinny jeans and these big bobble hats. And that to me is the epitome of soy boy. And if you're a soy boy, right, you've never had to deal with conflict in your life. The only thing you've ever, and somebody put this on my TikTok, and I think it's fantastic. If you're a soy boy, the only conflict you've ever had to deal with is your barista put soy milk in your latte, not oat milk. That may be like the biggest thing you've ever had to deal with. But ladies and gentlemen, violence is coming, and most men are not ready. A lot of men are ready, and I hope and I believe a lot of you men are ready as well. But girls, if you're looking for a boyfriend, if you're in the market for a boyfriend, who are you going to choose? Because the world is changing. There's a new global shift. You guys can call it the new world order. You can call it whatever you want. But woke is over. It's done. It's finished. It's not going back. It's like Elvis. Those sideburns are fantastic, but it is like Elvis. So let me start with my opening monologue, because I want to talk about violence. as politely as possible, which I think I'm qualified to do, being a fully qualified English gentleman. Now, in light of what's just happened with the United States and Venezuela, which is kind of the biggest thing since 1870, it really is. I want to talk about violence, and I want to talk about a trope that I've been saying for quite a while. Everything is underwritten by violence. So you know these people with blue hair who are protesting and they've got a drum going bum 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 bum. You know those guys? The right for those guys to protest is underwritten by violence. Oh, but we don't want violence. We just want to love each other. Yeah. The fact that you're saying that is underwritten by men like me who are willing to do that sort of stuff. So we're seeing a change. We're definitely witnessing a change in the world. Look, guys, I'm not going to lie. I believe it's a welcome change. But let me speak clearly and plainly tonight. As we gathered under, listen, I've got a 60% chance of snow in the next 3 hours. So I'm just going to say that as we gather under the snow-filled skies that have witnessed centuries of our island's turbulent history, we pride ourselves in the United Kingdom of a civil society, our cues, cups of tea, our unwavering sense of fair play. And it is. I was in Ukraine, and somebody asked me this, says, Sean, why don't you take bribes? And I just said, well, it's not fair. He said, yes, but everybody take bribe. I said, yeah, but I don't care. It's not how you do things. You need to do things fair. And I think being British, the real British, not those guys that have got passports, you know, you guys know what I'm talking about, right? I mean, the real British, those guys that like, if you're British, in fact, actually, what's his name? Fast Jet Performance. What's his name? Tim Davies or something. He did a little video a while back, and I was so jealous of his videos. He said what it is to be English, to be British. And he said what it means to be English, British is, and he said something like, imagine hordes of enemy coming towards you. What do? You pull your sword and you go for it, right? I was watching Lord of the Rings. For those of you guys who don't know, Lord of the Rings is our Christmas time jam. Do you know what? It's my all-time jam. I love Lord of the Rings. Watching Lord of the Rings, there's something that slipped past me. It totally slipped past me. It absolutely did. There's a lot of grand fight scenes in Lord of the Rings, and there's huge valor from Aragorn, the King of Men. But one of the things that slipped past me was how poignant it was in the Fellowship of the Ring. Aragorn, he goes up to Frodo, and it's when Boromir just tried to take the ring. And Frodo holds out the ring to Aragorn, and he says, no, I'm not taking that. That's yours, bro. You take it. And then Frodo's sword starts going blue. And you guys know that when Frodo's sword goes blue, it's a special blade, and it will shine blue when orcs are near, or bad guys are near. At that moment, that is what it means to be English. Aragorn, the King of Men, the Ranger from the North, he represents everything. He represents everything that is being English. He looks, he's got his bro, he's got to say goodbye to him. There's no big ceremony. He understands what he's got to do. He turns around and there's like an army. There's literally an army heading towards him, an army of orcs. He's not angry. He's not sad. He accepts. He accepts what he has to do. He doesn't look around for help. He doesn't look for favor. He accepts what he has to do. He draws his sword. He makes a prayer and he goes to work. That's what being English is all about, ladies and gentlemen. Look, if you're joining me for the first time, we are talking about violence is inevitable. Violence is coming. Violence is on its way. Most men are not ready for what's coming. And let me continue with this opening monologue, because I'm just conscious I've gone on a massive... I just went on a massive Lord of the Rings... I just went on a massive Lord of the Rings side quest. let's not delude ourselves, okay? The peace we cherish, the stability that lets us sleep soundly in our homes at night, it's not some ethereal gift from the heavens. It is underwritten by something more primal, something more dangerous, something more furious, something far more unflinching. It's underwritten by violence. Yes, peace is underwritten by violence. And that's it. That is literally it. Think about it. Every law etched into our statute books, from the Magna Carta to the latest act passed in Westminster, is nothing. It's nothing but ink on paper without the will to enforce it, without the ability to enforce it. If I wrote on this piece of paper, if I just wrote on this something, and I had the might of the United States Army military, I could enforce this. So this would then become law. This would then become credible. Let me say that again. Our laws, our legislation, everything, our institutions, everything that we hold dear to us, all these lawyers, all these legal teams, all these solicitors, all these barristers, they have nothing but ink and paper without the violence to enforce that. You guys know where I'm going, right? So like Sadiq Khan and his little, oh, we're going to represent these terrorists. Oh, yes, because blah, blah, blah. Yeah. All right, mate. Yeah. All right. The ability to do that's nothing. But we're kind of at a crossroads right now, because I think people forget that the people who are enforcing this ink on paper, they don't want that ink on paper, some of that ink on paper to be, they don't even want it to be written on that. Think about the speed limit on the A1, right? You know, they are the speed limits on the A1, the M1, the M25, the A20, whatever route, whatever the main road, whatever the motorway by you is. Put it in the chat. Whatever the motorway by you is, the speed limit is enforced by, it's backed by the threat of fines, right? If you ignore those, the police will pull you over, and if you resist, they will wield force to subdue you. I.e., if you speed on the motorway, the police will stop you, they will put violence on you, and they will enforce those little bits of paper. Our NHS, the welfare state. You know, the welfare state that we're building, sending hundreds of millions of pounds to build houses for migrants. That's taxpayer money, right? That's taxpayer money. And taxes fund them. And those taxes are collected because HMRC, Her Majesty's Her Majesty's Customs, His Majesty, sorry, it's weird saying that. His Majesty's Customs and Revenue has the power to seize assets, to prosecute, and imprison. An imprisonment, that is violence in its most institutional form. The deprivation of liberty guarded by locks, keys, chains, and batons. Prison is the ultimate form of institutional violence, right? We can keep going further back. We can keep going further back. You know, the British Empire was forged in the fires of colonial conquests and naval broadsides. Even our post-war consensus, the calm after the storm, as in the peace dividend that we have right now, so the calm after 2 world wars, rests on the deterrence of nuclear arsenals. Yep, nuclear arsenals, like the ultimate violence. And the readiness of our armed forces, ultimately, that is what's kept things peaceful. Violence has kept things peaceful over the last, I don't know how many years, since the end of the Second World War, at least. Without that underlying capacity for violence, and I'm talking about the armed forces now, because like the armed forces, obviously you guys know I'm ex-military. I did have a little bit of post-traumatic stress when I saw those helicopters flying over Venezuela, flanked by AH-64 gunships. It was like, oh God, I want. Anyway. So without that underlying capacity for violence, control, and I'm not talking about, I'm talking about state-sponsored violence now, which is controlled, it's regulated, but it's ever present. Our treaties, our alliances, you know, our borders would become like sandcastles at high tide. And I get what people are going to say about rubber dinghies, and I totally agree with that. What of legislation without teeth? History is littered with such follies. The League of Nations, that was a noble experiment in the interwar years, preached peace, but lacked the muscle to stop aggressors, resulting in the catastrophe we all know. Closer to home, consider the poll tax riots in the 90s. A law imposed without sufficient backing, leading to chaos until violence restored order. The force of the government restored order. And you see this time again, guys, okay? Whoever has the most violence is in charge. Whoever can give the most violence is in charge. So, well, all you soy boys are out there saying, yeah, but you know what? Actually, right, you know what? Yeah, can I have some more soy milk in my latte? Donald Trump is actually going against international... Shut up! Nobody cares! Nobody cares anymore, bruv. Nobody cares. Woke is over. Peace without violence to underwrite it is a mirage. It doesn't exist, honestly. Now, the reason I'm saying this, because I think people are still under some sort of illusion that this is not true. And this is true in every walk of every life, in every civilization ever. Peace without violence to underwrite it is a facade. It's a mirage. It's a fugazi. It doesn't exist. It's not real. It's fake. It's a polite fiction we tell ourselves to feel civilized. Legislation without enforcement is worthless. And enforcement can only come with violence. That scrap of paper that these barristers are... Imagine this, right? Imagine this, right? Just let me paint this picture real quick. Let me paint, and I will say what I just said again. Imagine this, right? The world's most... No, do you know what? Europe's most senior barrister, legal expert. He's a barrister, he's a judge, whatever, right? He knows all the laws. Right, he knows everything. Imagine it. I'm imagining him now. I'm not imagining David Lammy. I'm imagining a white man around 60 years old, 65 years old. He's got the wig on, right, and he's got his book in his hands, right? Imagine. So you've got him, right? He knows all his laws. He knows everything. A 17, 18, 20-year-old, an 18-year-old Russian conscript is walking up to him with an AK-74. There's just them two. The barrister, he says, stop! Under Section 9B of the Human Rights Law, 1847, you do not have the legal ramifications to do... You see where I'm going, right? The conscript is like, peace dead, lad. Bang, bang, bang. Who do you think wins that argument? Who do you think's going to win? The barrister with all his years of barristical training and all his years of legal expertise. Who's going to win that Who's between those two? Who's going to come out on top? The 18-year-old Russian conscript with an AK-74, or the barrister with all his legal expertise? Ladies and gentlemen, be under no illusion, the world is changing. That's where we head. This is where we're heading. Okay, so when I say peace without violence, to underwrite it is a mirage. It's a polite fiction that we tell ourselves to pretend we're civilized. It is. So these barristers, and do you know what? I'm not. This is not a call to arms. It's not. I'm telling you what's coming. But I do think it's going to be funny when some of these legal experts say, "Oh, but no, actually, we need to be protected, and then those people that protect us, we're going to sue them later." What? Are you for real? We're cooked. Either way, we're cooked. Legislation without enforcement is worthless. A scrap of paper, all it is a scrap of paper waved in the face of those who deny it. But, you know, what I've just said. Imagine those two scenarios, right? You've got the barrister and the Russian conscript. This is the law. This is the law. I'm waving it in front of you. The Russian's like, yeah, mate, 1, I don't read that language. 2, I don't read any language. 3, I've got an AK-74. 4, yeah, good night, Vienna. So, as we're talking about global tensions, you know, the United States are going bonkers, and I welcome that. I welcome the United. Look, somebody has to be in charge, right? I'd rather the United States be. You know what? I'd actually welcome the United States be in charge rather than anyone. But like, if you have to choose a world leader, you can do a lot worse than choosing the United States. As we're sat here in these times of like absolute instability, British airstrikes in Syria, gangs on the streets, the United States just went 80s America, economic woes, global tensions. Remember this, guys, okay? True stability demands that we acknowledge the shadow behind the light. Yeah, I said that. I said that. Because I feel that Raven is the shadow behind the light. The shadow that enforces the light. It's not a call to arms, but this is a recognition that our freedoms, our laws, our legislation, our institutions are all guarded by those who are willing to do violence. Without that underwriting violence, we have absolutely nothing. I think I hit my points there. Right, listen, guys, we are triple stream. I don't know. I don't even know how many times. I don't even know what we're streaming on. You guys on YouTube, all right? I'm going to keep this live stream going for a while. You guys on TikTok, I'm going to close you guys down because we are talking about violence. We're talking about global shifts. We're talking about how the woke is over, and I don't really like soy boys. So for you guys on TikTok, I'm going to close you guys down. I will be continuing this live stream on YouTube for a while. I'll be on. I'm the Real Raven One on YouTube. I'm the Real Raven One on X. If you want to jump over to YouTube, I welcome you and I encourage you to do that. But if not, guys, I'll be back on tomorrow morning, normal time at 10 o'clock. Anyway, I bid you good evening on TikTok, and you guys on YouTube, my new one-time big up fam. I'll see you guys in a minute. Well, let me turn these guys down. We're off. We are off. Right. Right, so we can say things now that we're not allowed to say on TikTok. Oh, hang on, I've got an... give me a second. Waldanga sent a £2 super. Like, honestly, like £2? Like, can I change the, like, honestly, like, can I change the minimum thing? Because, like, £2, it's like a little bit like, I don't know. Anyway, police are short for policy enforcers. Yes, they are. They absolutely are. And that's what we're talking about tonight, guys. You know, violence is coming. And you soy boys who have no idea what's coming, because you know what? If you're a soy boy and the only conflict you've ever had to resolve is, oh, actually, Tarquin, oh yes, you know Tarquin, he actually put bloody oat milk in my soy latte. And I said, Tarquin, this is a soy latte, not an oat milk latte. Oh, how we laughed. Yeah, gay as fuck. Right, let me jump down. Sean's a Jew. I am not a Jew. I'm not a Jew. Why are people saying I'm a Jew? Lisa Jane is saying, keep warm. It was -6 here this morning. Yeah, look, guys, I'm going to jump over to this because give me a second. Holy shit, it's snowing. It's snowing! It's snowing! Holy shit! My God! It's snowing! It's snowing, ladies and gentlemen! It's snowing! I've got a tiny frosting of snow outside. Sorry about that. We don't get snow much in the United Kingdom. We don't get snow much. Right, you lot are just throwing up these £2, right? I need to set this because, like, I feel for £2, I'm being a bit of a bitch for £2. I feel like I'm being a bit of a bitch for £2, but John Scott is saying, don't hate on those £2. Is that like the minimum you guys can do? £2. Listen, I guess I'm gonna have to take it. I need to change those settings. Right. Let me jump up and get some chat because look, the world is changing. Can you feel it? Can you feel it in your bones? Can you feel it in your toes? Can you feel it all around? Men are starting to rise. And look, guys, I welcome men. I welcome men rising. I do. I welcome men rising. Woke is over. It's gone. The shift is happening. There's the new global shift and violence is coming. Ultimately, your peace, your security, your livelihood, your job, your mum, your dad, your gran, your brother, your sister, your car, your finance company, all that shit is underwritten by violence. Yes, it's all underwritten by violence. And unfortunately, lots of men have forgotten how to inflict the former. And I think people are going to learn very quickly, very soon. Remember, if you're a soy boy, you know what, guys, if you're a soy boy, can you throw it out there? Because I'm really interested to listen to some soy boys. Andrew is saying laws work largely because most people follow and agree with them. Sure, there is an aspect of violence, as you say, but that's not why most people follow them and certainly not why they work. Andrew is definitely a soy boy. Andrew Rushton, you are definitely a soy boy. I know that listen, can you just ask your girlfriend's boyfriend, the other one, to like message me? Because he may not be a soy boy. All right. Andrew is saying actually, let me give you this. Andrew's looking. Laws work largely because most people follow and agree with them. What? Do you agree with mass migration? Do you agree with women getting raped? Do you agree with the crime rate going up? Do you agree with 100 million going on migrants' houses when we have veterans sleeping in the streets? Oh, yes, we agree with those largely. Honestly, do people really want to challenge me on this? Are people really wanting me to challenge me? Honestly, like, fair play to you for challenging me. you must have some kahunas or no kahunas. No. Laws work because they are enforced by violence, period. All right? For example, Andrew, and I'm not threatening this. In fact, you know what? If man alpha is an alpha, and man bravo is a beta, and man beta has a house, and man alpha wants that house, and there's no laws, guess what, bitches? Man alpha takes beta's house, beta is on the street, alpha reproduces, and we have a strong society. That's how the way of the world works. That's natural selection. That's how you grow. That's how you become strong, all right? Girls, this is on you, right? Stop going with soy boys. Right, have we got more 2 quids? Oh, God. Oh, Jesus. Right. I honestly, I'm just being a bitch tonight with these with these 2 pounders. Googleinos is saying Trump has set his sights on Greenland. Googleinos, yes, he has. What I have actually got a video to show later about this. I've been talking about this for such a while. The United States are going to take over Greenland. They're going to take Canada. They're going to take the United Kingdom. They've obviously taken Venezuela. They'll probably take Colombia. By de facto, they've got the North, they've got the South. They don't need to take Mexico, right? You've got the North, you've got the South. You can control Mexico financially. So, yes, I believe that's true. I think you're right. Ogmisema, we need to prepare women too. Ogmisema, I mean, look, is that you in the thumbnail? Ogmisema, I don't think that's you in the thumbnail. But I certainly wouldn't condone any projectiles in the United Kingdom. Look, girls, you're not as strong as men. What women need to do, right? This is what, listen, women, right? This is what you need to do. Stop entertaining soy boys. When you look at a man, look at that man and think, 1, can he provide for me? Can he protect me? Does he have warlord potential? That's what you need to be thinking. Not, oh, look at Jonathan. Jonathan can tell by taste the difference between a soy latte and an oat milk frappuccino. I'm like, dude, seriously? Give me a triple, literally, give me a triple espresso with a double espresso chaser and a block of ice. I will neck that bitch like it's 1996. World War III fears erupt as North Korea fires ICBM towards Japan. Okay, so intercontinental ballistic missile does not mean nuclear. Intercontinental ballistic missile just means it's a missile that can go far. Intercontinental means I think it's over 10. Is it 10,000? I don't know, but there's a metric basically where it is. Right. Let me jump back onto the chat before you guys are like totally bitching me out. Right. I'm just gonna jump down. Jacob Wayne is saying the same party who held No King's protest just a few months ago. When we're talking about the protesters, right? You know all these protesters that are doing this like bum 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 bum. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, violence is coming. Let me give you some pattern recognition. Let's do some pattern recognition.
To challenge the imperialist interests, the interests of the state.
Look how furious these people are. Look how furious they are. They're literally, they're handing in their Palestinian flags and taking out a Venezuelan flag. Shame. This is in London, by the way.
For the self-determination of the Venezuelan people, they will do the same to anyone who dares to challenge the imperialist interests, the interests of the.
Nobody cares, liberal. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about your microphone.
State.
So look, let me just throw this out there. Let me show you guys the paradox of this, okay? All these people here. There you go. All these people there, their right to protest is underwritten by violence. And I bet if you asked each and every one of them, do you agree with violence? Oh, no, I don't agree with violence. Okay. What if somebody came and stopped you from protesting? Oh, well, protesting is an actual fundamental, it's a fundamental human right because of the ECHR, section 1249AB. Okay, but what if somebody forcibly removed you? What would you do? If like, let's just say, give them this example, right? Just say, okay, right. What if a far right, and I don't even know what that means, but let's just say to them, you give the liberals this example. Okay, right. You've just told me you don't agree with violence, right? No, we don't agree with violence. We only agree with soy lattes and, oat milk cereal because that's better on the cows because you know what? We shouldn't be exploiting cows either. Bullshit. You should see the ribeye I've got in my freezer. Honestly, you should see the ribeye I've got in my freezer. So you go to these woke-tards and you say, okay, so you say that you don't want violence, right? Yes, we don't want any violence on anyone. Okay, what if somebody forcibly removed you from a protest? Oh well, we'd go through the legal chains. Okay, you go through the legal chains, all right? What does that mean? Well, we phone the police and we'd expect the police to come and stop them. Okay, how would the police stop them? Oh, well, they'd forcibly. You mean by violence, you lunatics? Everything's underwritten by violence, and people forget it. People forget it. Solicitors, barristers, judges, even the police themselves. Ultimately, the military underwrites everything. Everything. You want to go down to the final candy shop. You want to go down to the final candy shop, the military underwrites everything. And, and that is the reality. That is the reality. Because without that underwriting, what is it? It's literally just ink on paper. It is. It's just ink on paper. Jack Jones is saying these groups of woke liberal lefties live for chaos. Look, the era of woke is over. The era of woke is over. Look, and I welcome it. We are looking for real men. We're looking for real men who are going to do real shit in real time. And I welcome that. And I get that I'm sat here in my, do you know what? I've just realized I've not got my little heater on. God, it's cold in here. Give me a second. I need to turn my heater on. Right, this doesn't always work. This doesn't always work, and sometimes it gets my eyebrows. Ah! Do you think a woke liberal would have done that? Singed their hands? I can smell my own skin. That's because I'm the Raven. I don't give a shit. I want to get warm. I'm going to singe my eyebrows. Sean has a smoking jacket like Oscar Wilde. I feel like I should have. Michael's clearly ex-military. So Michael is saying Hexy TV. So what he's meaning there is when you're in the military, you get this it looks like it's called hexamethane, blah 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 blah. It says it on the box. It comes in these little white blocks that look like fire lighters for the barbecue or whatever. but it's really hard. And what happens is when you're really cold and you set fire to them, they burn for a long time. They make an absolute mess of your mess tins. So what you do is when you're cooking your dinner, you just sit there looking at the hexamethane or whatever it is. Oh, here we are. He's back again. Are we just going to pretend it's normal to use a camping gas cooker to keep warm? Clearly, you people are reaching levels of savagery not thought possible. Do you know what? I'm going to absolutely own that. If it's negativity from Andrew Walkton, right, who's saying, are we just going to pretend it's normal to use camping gas cookers to keep warm? Bitch, I'm the Raven. I do what I want. Do you know why I do what I want? Do you know why I do what I want? Because I'm the Raven, you know. If I want to have I don't even know what it is. A huge gas burner in my extension that's wood to keep me warm, I absolutely will. But do you know what you're going to do? Listen, do you know what I know Andrew is going to do? I know Andrew is going to go to work. He's going to be at work tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. He's going to say yes, sir. He's going to say yes to his boss. He's going to do whatever he's told. He's going to pay his taxes. He's going to go and get another job when they tell him to get another job. He is going to do exactly what the government tell him, because I know that Andrew is a good boy, and I know he wouldn't want to go against anything that anyone says. Look, I live my life. Yeah, I live my life. I roll with that. If I want it in my extension, I'll roll with that. I roll with the big dogs. Sean, do we really have a network of military, ex-military that are waiting? Okay. First of all, okay, right. This is a huge question. First of all, I'll give you my straight answer. I don't know. I can only speculate. So this comes, I think, from Ant Middleton. I think it was Ant Middleton, who is ex-B team. He's ex-B team, and he's been saying that there's a load of military who are waiting for a green light to overthrow the government to support the people. Now, obviously, I don't know if that's true. I think there's a high likelihood that is true. I know that if I was in the military, and I was, and I'm not anymore, I know that if I was in the military and I was seeing all this shit that was happening, I would be furious about it. I'd be furious about it. Now, it doesn't matter the guys on the ground. What really matters is the commanding officers, right? For example, the commanding officer of a battalion, he has the authority to do whatever he wants in that battalion. You know, he can get them all to hop on one leg on a Wednesday, which I've heard before. He can stand them down early on a Thursday and they don't have to come into work on a Friday, which used to happen for us. Yeah, that's how we used to roll in the military. So it's the commanding officers. Now, I don't think it's beyond the realms of possibility that there is a commanding officer somewhere, at least one in the army in the United Kingdom, that's thinking about this. And I'm going to say they're probably parachute regiment. You know, you've got like the Royal Dragoon Guards and the Royal Marines and the Royal this. Do you know why the parachute regiment's not like the Royal Parachute Regiment? Because they've got a history of insubordination. But nobody wants to axe the parachute regiment because they're so violent and they do the job each time without fail. So it comes down to the next question. Do I think there are a sufficient amount of commanding officers who are ready to put their career and potentially go to jail themselves if things go wrong? I think the likelihood is high. That's all I can say. I don't know, but I think the likelihood is high. For example, if the 3 battalions of, let's just say 3 battalions of parachute regiment, right? The 3 commanding officers, they all got together. They said, look, we need to go and overthrow this government because it's an absolute shit show. It's an absolute shit show. And I'm not saying this is going to happen. I'm just total hypothetical scenario. and they say, yeah, we need to overthrow the government. So what they do, and this is what they can do, right, as a commanding officer, they would have under their command over 1,000 men, maybe 1,200 men, right? Just so you guys know, 1,200 armed men could quite easily take this country. Who's going to stop? Like when the military move in, who are they going to send to stop the military? You're going to send the firemen? You're going to send the firemen? Oh, firemen, I know you're not on strike this week, but the military are having a coup. Can you just quickly go and stop them? Like, who are you going to send? You're going to send the NHS? You're going to send the police? Good luck. Good luck. Like I said, ladies and gentlemen, violence underwrites everything. So in this context, like 1,200 guys armed with vehicles, anti-tank weapons, snipers, indirect fire, heavy machine guns, light machine guns, drones, small arms, enough ammunition to, do the job. Who are they going to send? Now, if you double that up with special forces that with some special forces that may or may not be in on it, government gets closed down within 12 hours. Literally, probably less. Like, what's going to happen? Do you think David Lammy's going to freedom? Do you think David Lammy's going to mount a last charge and defeat them all because he's a black man? I'm a black man and I know tyranny when I see it. Let me Velcro up my trainers and David, sit down, shut up. Because all your legislation, your legal framework, everything you've known to be true is underwritten by violence. And that violence is not you, brother. It's not you. That violence is other men. And the people in the world who have always held the key, that in the world, the people who are the underwriters of that type of violence are white Christian men. Literally, they are white Christian men. There's no one else even close. I listen, what I'm talking about now is the ability to become greater than the sum of your own parts. Give me a second. Yeah. So what I just said to you guys right there and then, look, guys, listen, when I'm on the live stream, I never know what's going to come. I never know where we're going with the chat. I don't ever know where we're going. I just said to you guys that the world leaders in violence are white Christian men. Nobody does it. Nobody does it even close. And if there's somebody out there, some soy boy who wants to argue with me, let me know. Let me know what other group of men, because it's always going to be men, isn't it? It's not going to be women. What other group of men can counter or have ever countered white Christian men? Nobody can counter white Christian men. That's why there's a war against white Christian men. So let me just throw this out there. Pattern recognition, ladies and gentlemen. Pattern recognition. What do you notice? What do you notice? Who has the monopoly on violence? White Christian men. What do you guys notice? Literally, what do you guys notice? You can imagine Netflix doing doing a mini-series on this, like a 6-part mini-series. Maduro's last siege, and there's someone in a wheelchair. There's 2 Muslim women with burqas. But what do you notice? Tell me what you notice, guys. Tell me what you notice. It's not it's not a trick question. What do you notice? Running Bear is saying, I can't believe how the UK allowed in so many illegals. Hang on, I need to read this first. Running Berry saying, I can't believe how the UK allowed in so many illegals. They're getting them out here. It amped up for deportation on, I'm assuming Running Berry's in America, the United States of America. You know what? I mean, I did say that there's going to be a mass exodus to Antarctica. I'm thinking it may be to America. You know, would that be a bad thing? They're getting them out here. It amped up for deportation Friday to arrest many officials in states here for safe space for illegals. Right, I'm just going to jump down. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, right, hang on. The Soy Boy's jumped on. Where's Soy Boy? Yes, the war criminal in chief. Right, he's talking about Donald Trump. Right, I love these Soy Boys. They jump on. Right, Soy Boy. Right. What war criminal? What? Okay, first of all, right? So Soy Boy is referring to Donald Trump as a war criminal in chief, right? Okay, first of all, what war are you talking about? This is how deluded these guys are. This is how deluded they are. They don't even understand the words they're saying. Oh, he's a war criminal. In what war? Oh, well, there wasn't a war. So what is he if he's not? Tell me what you mean. Oh, well, what I mean, I don't know what I mean. I just heard somebody else say it. And Tarquin with his soy latte, he put brown sugar in it. And I said, no, it's oat latte and that's white sugar. Honestly. Right, Andrew, you're going to have to pay me £2 and you're going to have to talk. Listen, I'll let you bitch me. Andrew, you're going to have to pay me £2 if you want me to read any of your comments in future, because honestly, like, as far as I'm concerned, strong men rule the world. And when strong men don't rule the world, shit goes bad. That's the reality. That is the reality. Silly Gallardi is saying our idea for doing well. Silly, surely you're not saying that the Israeli defense force are not white. Come on, Israelis are white, right? Are Israelis white? I don't know. Listen, it's a question. I don't know. Are Israelis white? I thought they were. I'm pretty sure Israelis are white. Stephen is saying, when it kicks off properly, I'm taking so many left. I'm not even going to repeat that. I can't repeat that. Soy Boy Group, New Paramilitary, SPG. Yeah, the special Soy Boy Group. William is saying the Euphrates River is gone. Really? Right, I'm going to look at this. William Palmer is saying the Euphrates River is gone. Judgment Day is now here upon all and all nations. I am the will of the Almighty Creator of the heavens and the earth himself. Yahweh, I think that is. I don't know, William. Listen, tell me more, William. Tell me more. I'm not discounting it. I'm not discrediting you. I like what you're saying. Can you, like, where can I find the River Euphrates has gone? Let me just Google this real quick. Wow. So the River Euphrates isn't completely gone, but is severely threatened and shrinking drastically due to climate change. And an upstream dam constructed by Turkey. Okay, so this might not be as biblical as we was thinking. Leading to water shortages, ecosystem collapse, and humanitarian crisis in Iraq and Syria, with experts warning it could be gone by 2040, raising concerns about displacement, agriculture, and regional stability, while also sparking discussions about its potential fulfillment of biblical end times prophecy. I don't know. Did they say? Did it say in the Bible that Turkey were going to build a big dam? I don't know. Is it in Deuteronomy? Is it in Deuteronomy that the Turkish are going to build a big dam? I don't know. look, guys, I'm not discounting any end times prophecy. I do genuinely think I mean, if we're ever going to be in the end times, it's going to be now, right? It's going to be now. At the height of the Cold War, in fact, you know what? Let's rewind a little bit. Let's have a rewind. Earlier on in my opening monologue, I was talking about how, what we were saying basically in the opening monologue is that our post-war World War I and World War II, our post-war peace, the peace dividend after the First and Second World War, the calm after the storm was underwritten by the deterrence of nuclear arsenals, i.e., America have nuclear weapons, Russia have nuclear weapons, Britain has nuclear weapons, China has. So nobody wants to fire a nuclear weapon because it's all going to go swizzle. And that is the ultimate, the ultimate violence. So peace is underwritten by the ultimate, peace is underwritten by violence. So, if we're talking about end times prophecies, any time, I think if it was going to go, I think it's got to go now, because we have had this peace dividend. We've had this peace dividend marching on since the end of the Second World War, I guess. And we really have. How do I? When I came after my second or third tour of Afghanistan, after I came back after my second or third tour of Afghanistan, we had these smokers, and you're meeting the old guys who are parachute regiment in the 70s and in the 60s, and you're all talking. You sat there, you've got a chicken korma and rice, and you've got a can of Stella in your hand, and you're talking. That's how it works in the mess. And I was talking to one of these guys, and he was saying, he was saying, oh, what was it like in Afghanistan? I was saying, honestly, mate, it was absolutely hectic. We'd probably do 3 operations a week. We would be getting on the back of CH-47s. We would be flying out into the middle of the desert, flanked by Apache gunships. The Apache gunships would be hosing shit down. You'd have an AC-130 above you. You'd get off. You'd do your job. You would either bring the bad guys back with you, or if you couldn't find them, you wouldn't, obviously, because they're not there. You'd be doing that 2-3 times a week, maybe even more. And this guy was saying, oh, yes, it was the same in Northern Ireland. And I was like, I didn't say anything because you don't, it's like an unwritten rule. But I was like, yeah, it really wasn't the same in Northern Ireland. It really wasn't. It was not the same. And this is what's going to happen in the future. You're going to get my generation of Iraq, Afghanistan, various other places I can't talk about. And we're going to be meeting the new generation, like the Gen Zs or the Gen Alphas. And we're going to be saying to them, well, I won't say this because I know that you guys are going to pull out, and you guys are going to be fantastic. And I know you are. You're going to make yourselves proud. You're going to make the country proud. You're going to make every white Christian proud. And I know you guys are going to do that. A lot of people there may be a situation where they're saying, yeah, you know what? We just fought off 10,000 Russians, and we called in the airstrikes, but they couldn't come. And that this happened, and then this happened. And someone will say, yeah, it was the same in Afghanistan. It's really not going to be the same. It's really not going to be the same. We are heading towards global conflicts on an absolutely industrial scale. It's happened. It started. We can see it. Right, let me jump over and give this video, because I did say I've got a video on Trump. I've got a Trumpy video, and then I'm going to jump down and get the comments. This one, and then this one. Elon Musk posted this, actually.
I've been right about everything.
So this is an old video from Trump, right?
Egredocious way, but it's true. I've been right about everything.
I think he follows me. You know, when somebody comes up and they says, I've been right about everything, clearly they follow me, because I've been right about everything. I have. I don't even care anymore. I've been right about everything, and I am right about everything. I don't even care. I don't even care what Soy Boy says. And look, just for Soy Boy, I'll be quite clear. I'm against the unnatural ending of people's lives. I am. Everyone, even the bad guys. I don't want bad guys to go down. I think the future of humanity is in the stars. I think the sooner we can build spaceships rather than guns, rockets, tanks, and airplanes to kill each other, the sooner we can build spaceships, the better. But unfortunately, we don't. After this war cycle is over, I hope that we can. I really do, guys. I hope that we can.
And I'm telling you that if you don't get away from the green energy scam, your country is going to fail. And if you don't stop people that you've never seen before, that you have nothing in common with, your country is going to fail. I'm the president of the United States, but I worry about Europe. I love Europe. I love the people of Europe. And I hate to see it being devastated by energy and immigration. This double-tailed monster destroys everything in its wake, and they cannot let that happen any longer. You're doing it because you want to be nice. You want to be politically correct, and you're destroying your heritage. They must take control strongly and immediately of the unmitigated immigration disaster and the fake energy.
So there we are. You know, Donald Trump is saying we need to take control of the immigration crisis. We need to take control of the immigration crisis imminently. And look, I do agree. I'll be quite clear. I'm not always for everything that Donald Trump says. I'm not like one of these trumpets. I'm not like one of these trumpets or these trumpers. But I do think, I know he's right. And look, do you think he's right? Do the Soy Boy, listen, if Soy Boy jumps on here and answers this comment, whatever his answer is, I'll answer it. I will read it. So Soy Boy, I know we've got a few Soy Boys on here, but I can't remember his name. Soy Boy, do you think migration into the United Kingdom is a good thing? Right now, as we have it, the masses of people turning up on our shores, turning up in boats, committing crimes against our girls, committing crimes against this group, committing crimes here. Do you think that that's a good thing? I don't. And I welcome anyone who's, I genuinely welcome anybody who says that is, I will not agree with you, but I welcome anyone who opposes my opinion. And I would like to debate that. James is saying, I'm the alpha. No, I'm the alpha, James, but I like it that you think you're the alpha. I'm the alpha and the omega, the beginning of the end. I think that sounds biblical to me. That sounds biblical. I don't mean, is that like in the Greek? Is that some sort of Greek stuff? I don't know. That feels like it's Greek to me. Trump is a liar and a deceiver. America is direct judgment of the Almighty. I am the God, my keys. I'm sat on my keys. Trump is a liar and a deceiver. America is direct judgment of the Almighty. I am the will of the Almighty Creator of the heavens. Okay, right. Okay. I like what you're saying. Tell me more. Tell me more, brother. I think people need to stop putting faith in like old books. And I think people need to start putting faith in themselves. And I know that saying that sounds very Christian, right? Because the Bible tells us not to put faith in yourself, to deal with your own shit, right? That's what the Bible tells us, essentially. So I know that me saying, don't put faith in these old books, put faith in doing shit yourself, it sounds very Christian. And that may be. He's basically saying, I'm not Jewish, guys. I am not Jewish. I'm not Jewish. the River Euphrates is gone. Well, I just looked at this and it said the River Euphrates isn't gone. So, you know, I don't know. In the USA, Somali people invaded a state on the Canadian border, receiving federal funds for fake businesses, organized crime rings. Yeah, they did. I think this is happening all over the UK as well. I do. I think a lot of NGOs, a lot of charities, I think they're all set up and I think they're all fraudulent. And Ishtar, bro, is that an O'Neill cylinder as your thumbnail? I hope it is. Right, guys, let me jump down and get some more comments. Let me jump down and get some more comments, and then I'm going to be closing this down. You're very, very intelligent. I am. I'm like the most intelligent man on the internet. You know what? I think I'm probably the most intelligent man to walk the earth since. And do you know what? Actually, what a fantastic time we are to live in, because not only am I alive, but Eric Weinstein's alive as well. So, like me, can you imagine me and Eric Weinstein coming together, having a couple of beers, like within like 30 to 45 minutes, we would have world peace. We would have a colony on the moon. We would have a floating village around Venus. We would have solar panels. We would have solar panels around the sun, all beaming energy back to Earth. We would have a colony on Mars, taking their hydrocarbons, and we would definitely be in a type 1 civilization as per the Kardashev scale. But yeah, thank you very much for letting me know I'm intelligent. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Templar Sherry Hep is saying, we have snow. Yes, yes, guys, listen, give me a second. We've got snow. We're snowing, ladies and gentlemen. We have snow in the United Kingdom. It's only a frosting, but sometimes all you need is a frosting. Templar Sherry Hep is saying, we have snow in South Yorkshire, not much, I'm freezing. Got fluffy PJs on, dressing gown, a Tog 25 something wrapped around me, and my Stitch hot water bottle. Well, I hope that Stitch hot water bottle is doing its business. But yes, we have snow. We have snow, ladies and gentlemen. Sure, look at the Euphrates rivers. Look at the symbol of the river. I don't know what this means, guys. I don't know what this means. I can't do it now, but I will look into it. It's snowing in Colombia. I think that's a reference to Donald Trump saying he wants to. He made some. I think I kind of missed this. I kind of missed the second part of this, but I think Donald Trump was saying something about the Colombians or something, and that he may go and do some sort of military intervention into Colombia. I'm so curious about the Euphrates River. I don't think it's going. I think the main reason that, look, in fact, let me get that back on. So, the Euphrates River, it is really slowing down. Now, that could be, there's a number of factors to this. I think the biggest factor is the Turkish have made a dam further up there. So if you guys think the Euphrates, it runs from, there's the Tigris and the Euphrates, and I always get them mixed up. So the Euphrates runs from, it comes from Turkey down through Syria, down through a town called Fishkabur. It then turns into a place called Dahuk. Wow, I can't actually remember this now. It goes through Dahuk, then it goes through, I think it goes through Baghdad, and then it goes all the way down, and it comes out onto the Persian Gulf. I'm pretty sure that's how it goes. So yeah, I don't think that's drying up. I think the main thing is the Turkish have done this, and again, water is being used. Look, I like earliest videos. Some of my earliest videos. Water is going to be a weapon of war, right? Water is going to be a weapon of war. People at some point in the future will be fighting over water, and that makes more sense to me anyway. Peter is saying, look up Malik Hassan, the Muslim imam who woke up after a coma screaming, forgive me, Jesus, please forgive me. He's become a Christian and the video went viral and his family are getting threats. On that, I've deleted it. Hang on, let me get this up. Sorry, guys. I do so many articles, okay? I do so many articles and I want to talk about and then the news changes. So with what so Peter Senator, listen, it's the end of Christmas. We all need a little bit of magic, right? We all need a little bit of Christianity. Look up Malik Hassan, the Muslim imam who woke up after a coma screaming, forgive me, Jesus, please forgive me. He's become a Christian and the video went viral and him and his family have been getting threats. So with that in mind, I'm going to share this video with you guys. I've not seen this video.
Le feu l'a juste pas touché, le feu était juste tout autour. J'ai un ami à moi, c'est tout pareil, il n'arrivait pas à sortir et il s'est juste assis et il a tenu ça.
Okay, we can't see what she's saying. Okay, this guy's saying the woman in Swiss bar fire says, so the Swiss bar fire on New Year's Eve, says she witnessed a miracle, says the flames completely avoided her friend who sat down with a cross in his hand when he became trapped. A friend of mine couldn't get out and he just sat down and held his cross in his hand. The fire just avoided him. The fire didn't touch him. The fire was all around him, but not on him. You see, I don't know if this stuff's real. I don't know if that stuff's real. But isn't that powerful? Isn't that powerful when you know, that stuff's really powerful, right? Greg is saying, hey, dumbass, watch out for carbon monoxide from that burner. Do you know what? The carbon monoxide has to watch out for Raven. Because when that gets inhaled by Raven, it turns into something different. And the carbon monoxide then runs off. Oh, we're going biblical. We are going biblical. We're going biblical. Right, listen, guys, I'm going to have to close this down in a second. James is saying, when 4 demons are released, 1 out of 3 of... When 4 demons are released, 1/3 of mankind will be wiped out. Apophis... Wormwood asteroid will wipe out another 1/3. The wrath of the Lord God is coming. There's a few videos of when forest fires have destroyed small villages and they find Bibles completely untouched. Everything else has been burnt to a cinder. I don't know, guys. I don't know. I don't know. You know, I'm leaving. This is going to be my final comment, guys. This is going to be my final comment. Lewis Ackers is just saying Raven dust. I don't know what it means. I think it's cool. I think it's fantastic. Oh, listen, guys, for you guys who become for the members, I tried to get on to do I can give you guys like memes and emojis and phone screensavers and all that sort of stuff. I didn't have a chance to do it today. I promise you guys, I am going to get onto it. Tomorrow the world opens back up, right? I mean, we've all been in this limbo twilight zone. Tomorrow the world opens up, so hopefully I'll be able to do it tomorrow. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, you guys have been absolutely fantastic. Hang on, I've got another. Googleinos is saying Russia's Medvedev floats kidnapping scenario involving German MERS. Okay, so let me just put this to bed straight away, guys. Okay, let me put this to bed for everyone, right? The Russians don't have the Russians don't have the legs. Their military is not sophisticated enough. They don't have the overwhelming air power. They don't have the capacity to work multi-domain operations. They just don't have it. Whatever Medvedev's saying, Dmitry Medvedev, whatever he's saying, he's just hot air. To be able to conduct the operation like the United States conducted against President Maduro, first of all, you have to have a top-tier special forces, because when those guys get on the ground, whatever they've planned for, it's all going to change. Literally, everything's going to change. They're going to get on the ground. Somebody's going to shot someone. A helicopter's going to be... It's all going to change, all right? So those operators that hit the ground, like these guys... Like these guys here who hit the ground, they need to know what they're doing. Because if they don't, oh, look how he's pixelated his tattoos. Because if these guys don't know what they're doing, if they're not experienced, if they are just some sort of, yes, I'm Spetsnaz because I weigh 200 kilos. Yeah, that's not going to help, okay? That's not going to help. So Medvedev is just throwing hot air out there. The Russians don't have that capacity. They never did. The Russians never, I don't think they ever will, to be honest, the way the Russians roll. Leroy, he's saying, I don't think you're a Jew, Sean. Thank you. I'm not. I'm definitely not Jewish. And I don't, listen, let me throw it out there. I don't have a problem with Jewish people either. And Jacqueline Butterworth is saying exactly. I don't know what that's in response to, but again, I like it. So I am going to close this live stream down now, ladies and gentlemen. I'll be back on tomorrow morning at 10. Remember, violence is coming. All your laws, your legislation, your frameworks, everything that we hold dear to is ultimately underwritten by violence. And most men are not ready for what is coming. There's a global shift. You guys can feel it, right? You can feel it. You can see it. You know it's coming. Woke is over. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to close this down now. You guys have been fantastic. If you're on and you've not done so already, please make sure, in fact, you know what? Please make sure you have... Are you related to Sean Bean? No, I'm not related to Sean Bean. But anyway, good night, everybody. Lisa Jane's saying. I'm saying good night back to everybody. I hope everybody's a good night. Remember, some parts of the United Kingdom, especially here, are snowing. So wrap up tight. Wrap up tight with your loved one and make some more babies. Anyway, guys, I'll catch you in the morning.